Today we come to the next in the series of joy in the book of the Acts, and today we come to the joy of answered prayer. In Acts chapter 12, and there are many examples of this particular joy in the book of the Acts, and actually throughout the Bible. But in the book of the Acts chapter 12, we have Herod Agrippa, and he doesn't like the Christians. And it says in Acts chapter 12 that he killed James, the first of the disciples to be martyred with the sword. So James is executed. And then, because he saw that this pleased the Jews, he then captures Peter. The location of the Christians must have been known. Herod suddenly got Peter, and Peter was put into prison, and his intention was, after the feast of Passover, that he would execute Peter in the same way, because it wasn't the custom for executions to take place during Jewish feasts. But that was his intention. And so Peter is guarded by 4 squads of 4 soldiers, no doubt on a rota basis, 4 soldiers at a time, and then 4 different groups, and Peter was kept under heavy guard to make sure he didn't escape, so Herod's ambitions could be fulfilled. Anyway, it says in Acts chapter 12 verse 5 that prayer was made without ceasing, or constant prayer was made by the church for Peter. And so we see that the early church got together to pray, and they prayed for Peter and prayed that no doubt he would be preserved. But Peter himself, of course, was sleeping. It says in Acts chapter 12, and he seemed to rest on God's promise. Remember, the Lord had already promised him in John 21, when you're old, they'll stretch out your hands and take you to a place that don't really want to go. But Peter knew that he wouldn't die before he was an older person. At this point in his life, he wasn't old. But the church was still praying, and it seemed it was an overnight prayer meeting, specifically, of course, for deliverance of Peter. And of course, if you read Acts chapter 12, the angel comes and puts the light on and wakes Peter out of his sleep, and rescues him from the prison. And then the gate opens, and out Peter goes into the city. And of course, Peter seems to know that the Christians will be praying, because he goes straight to the house of Mary, the mother of John Mark, and knocks on the door. There, of course, we read that Rhoda, the servant girl, opened the door, or she wouldn't open the door rather, because she recognized Peter's voice. When Peter knocked, it says she didn't open the door for gladness. And that's why we get the joy of answered prayer. No doubt Rhoda was praying, and when she heard Peter's voice at the door, she was so overcome with joy that the Lord had answered prayer and Peter was delivered, that she forgot to open the door. And she ran in and told the others, and they wouldn't believe. They wouldn't believe it was Peter. And that shows us their lack of faith. But eventually they opened the door, and Peter came in, and there was huge excitement as God had answered the prayers. And then, of course, we see Peter beckons with his hand for them to calm down, and explains how the Lord delivered them from prison. And that's great. Peter acknowledges that it was the Lord who delivered him. And so, at that point, Peter seems to go into hiding, but it was the joy of answered prayers. Peter, if you like, was released from prison by the angel, And the greatest joy is to know that for the Christian, prayer will be answered. It won't be answered necessarily the way that we think. Sometimes God says no, sometimes He says yes, sometimes He waits. There's a prayer that God does answer, and that's the prayer, like in Luke 18, God be merciful to me, a sinner. So if you're not a Christian and you want to become a Christian, just ask the Lord to forgive you, acknowledge you're a sinner and you need God's forgiveness, and you can have it through Jesus' work on the cross, and then you'll become a Christian. Thank you for listening.